Hello everyone, welcome to more Political Excess. Today, let's take a look at another primary that's coming up Tuesday, August 2nd. Let's take a look at Arizona. Let's start in the U.S. House. In the 1st District, which is the Phoenix suburbs, incumbent Republican Dave Schweikert. He has a primary to get through. I don't think he'll be in any danger there. The Democrats also have a primary. There's no polling, there's no market for this race. We'll see what happens on primary day. In November, Schweikert should probably win this race. I would think it's a lean to likely type of a margin. In the 2nd District, incumbent Democrat Tom O'Halloran, he's running again, so he will be the nominee. On the Republican side, there is a competitive primary. There's a couple of polls out, but the top two contenders are Walter Blackman and Eli Crane. Crane does have the Donald Trump endorsement. There's a lot of undecideds, but if we take a look at the market, as of the time I'm making this video, it is a very close race. So one of those two is going to go on to win. It's basically a coin flip at this point. And that 2nd District has been redrawn to favor the Republicans. So whoever wins that Republican primary is likely to go on to win the general and defeat Tom O'Halloran. In the 3rd District, that is a solid blue district, so there's nothing going on there. Ruben Gallego is going to defeat whoever the Republican is, Jeff Zink in this case. In the 4th District, incumbent Democrat Greg Stanton, he's going to be the nominee. The Republicans have a competitive primary, there's no polling, and there is no market. We'll see what happens on Tuesday. And in November, this will be a highly contested race, but Stanton, the incumbent, probably has a bit of an edge. In the 5th District, that will not be competitive. It's deep red. Andy Biggs will win, and he will beat whoever the Democratic nominee is. In the 6th District, that is the new southeast part of the state, Ann Kirkpatrick, the Democrat, is retiring, so it's an open seat. There is a competitive primary on both sides. There is no polling out on either side, but if we take a look at the market, for the Democrats, we could see Hernandez has a fairly comfortable lead over Engel, and on the Republican side, Juan Ciscomani has a substantial lead over the rest of the field. The 7th, 8th, and 9th districts are all either expected to be deep red or deep blue in November, which makes the primaries much less interesting unless an incumbent is being challenged. And it might be happening here in the 9th district with Paul Gosar, but I don't believe it is expected to be actually competitive or have there be an upset. So let's move on to the statewide races, and there's a couple of big ones. First up, for governor, it's an open seat as incumbent Republican Doug Ducey is term limited out, so there's a competitive primary for the Republicans. It basically comes down to Kari Lake, who is a former news anchor. She does have the Donald Trump endorsement, as well as a lot of related anti-establishment endorsements. And the other main contender is Karen Taylor Robson. She's viewed as the more establishment choice, probably more of the safe choice. She does have a lot of endorsements of her own. If we go down to the polling, we can see Kari Lake generally has a bit of a lead in most of these polls. It's not overwhelming. She does have somewhat of a lead. If we take a look at Predicted, Kari Lake is selling for 83 cents. So that's almost an overwhelming margin. She does appear to be favored, but it's not completely locked up. On the other side, for the Democrats, they have Katie Hobbs as their likely nominee. She is the Secretary of State. She's almost certainly going to be the nominee. If we take a quick glance at the general election polling, there's not much, but Katie Hobbs has an edge in the majority of these polls. But if we take a look at the market, it's actually the Republicans that do have the edge in that market. And finally, let's take a look at U.S. Senate. Incumbent Democrat Mark Kelly. He's the presumptive nominee. He won a close one last time by a couple of points. All of the focus is on the Republican side as they have a competitive primary. There's been three main contenders. Mark Brnovich, the Arizona Attorney General, he was leading for a while, but he's fallen off a little bit as of late. Jim Lehman and Blake Masters, who's an author as well as a venture capitalist. Masters did get the Trump endorsement, so that has raised his profile, similar to J.D. Vance in Ohio. So you can view all the endorsements here. Let's take a look at the polling. As I said, Mark Brnovich, he has basically lost his top-tier status. It's basically between Layman and Masters. No one has any kind of a substantial lead. So let's see what the market has to say. And this shows Blake Masters with a rather commanding lead at 88 cents. Masters is viewed as more anti-establishment. We'll see if that helps him. He does appear to be favored at this point. In November, it's going to be a very close race. I'd give a slight edge to Mark Kelly at this point. That's also what this market shows, but anything could happen. There's also races you might want to check out for Secretary of State, Attorney General, and State Treasurer. Feel free to look at those if you'd like. Otherwise, that's an overview of what's coming up this Tuesday. Let me know if you're watching any of these races down below. What do you think's going to happen? And if you enjoy this content, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.